The bell
You
above the
can't get
cafe
away with
door rang
this.
softly,
Let
but no
go
one noticed.
of me!
Every eye was locked on the waitress as she staggered backward, her cheek red, her coffee tray crashing to the floor. For one terrible second, the whole room forgot how to breathe. The kindness doesn't always arrive quietly. Sometimes, it roars in on engines, leather jackets, and unexpected courage. Before we begin, take a quick moment to support Kindness Tales. If stories like this move your heart, please subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread more real stories of kindness and hope. The cafe was called Maple Street Diner, the kind of place where the coffee was strong and the booths were worn smooth by years of elbows and conversations. It sat on a corner in a small Midwestern town, the sort of town where people nodded at strangers and held doors open without thinking about it. Emma had been working the morning shift since 6 a.m. She was 22, paying her way through community college, and she wore kindness like a second uniform. She remembered regulars' orders, smiled even when her feet hurt, and never rushed the elderly man who counted coins slowly at the register. That morning had started like any other. The breakfast rush had thinned, leaving behind a low hum of conversation and the clink of silverware. Then he walked in. The man was big, loud, and already angry before he sat down. He slammed himself into a booth and snapped his fingers for attention. Emma approached with her usual smile, pad in hand. "What can I get you today?" she asked. He ordered fast and sharp, complaining about the menu, the prices, the weather. Emma nodded and wrote it down, trying not to let his tone sink under her skin. When she brought his food, he took one look and exploded. "This isn't what I ordered," he shouted, standing up so fast the table shook. Emma checked the plate, confused. "Sir, this is exactly what..." He didn't let her finish. With a sudden, cruel motion, he struck her across the face. Not hard enough to knock her down, but hard enough to shock everyone in the room into silence. A fork clattered. Someone gasped. Emma's eyes filled with tears as she stumbled back, her cheek burning, her hands shaking. The man sneered. "Learn to listen next time." No one moved. Fear sat heavy in the air. People looked down at their plates, at their hands, anywhere but at Emma. She bent to pick up the fallen tray, trying to hold herself together. Years later, she would say the pain wasn't what hurt the most. It was the silence. Then the front door opened, the bell rang again, louder this time, and the sound cut through the tension like a blade. One by one, the heads in the cafe turned. They walked in as a group of 6. Big men. Leather jackets. Heavy boots. Patches stitched across their backs. The low rumble of motorcycles could still be heard outside. The bikers. The thug laughed under his breath. "Great," he muttered. The bikers took in the scene quickly. The broken cup. The shaken waitress. The red mark on her face. They didn't need explanations. The leader, a gray-bearded man with calm eyes, walked over to Emma. His voice was gentle, almost soft. "Are you okay, miss?" Emma swallowed hard and nodded, though tears slipped down her cheeks. "I think so." He handed her a clean napkin. "Why don't you take a minute in the back?" She hesitated. I still need to work." The biker shook his head kindly. "No job's worth that." Then he turned and faced the man in the booth. The cafe went so quiet you could hear the coffee machine humming. The biker didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten. He simply said, "You're going to apologize." The thug laughed, loud and mocking. "Or what?" The biker stepped closer, and the other bikers moved with him, forming a silent wall. "Not aggressive. Just present." "Or," the biker said calmly, "you're going to leave this place and never come back." For the first time, the man looked unsure. He glanced around, realizing no one was on his side anymore. The silence had shifted. He scoffed and grabbed his jacket. "Whatever." As he stood to leave, the biker blocked his path with one finger held up. "You forgot something." The thug clenched his jaw, then turned toward Emma. His voice was low and forced. "Sorry." It wasn't heartfelt. It wasn't kind. But it was something. He stormed out, the door slamming behind him. The cafe exhaled. Emma slid into a chair, her hands trembling. The manager rushed over, apologizing again and again, promising to call the police. Emma just nodded, overwhelmed. The bikers sat down at a large table. "What'll it be?" the manager asked nervously. "Breakfast for everyone," the leader said, pulling out his wallet. "On us." The room filled with murmurs of surprise. As plates were served, something changed. Conversations restarted. People smiled at Emma as she returned, slower now, supported by her co-workers. An elderly woman reached out and squeezed Emma's hand. "Thank you for being brave," she whispered. Emma smiled weakly. "Thank you for staying." After breakfast, the bikers didn't rush out. They talked with regulars, laughed with kids at the counter, and treated the diner like it was their own neighborhood spot. Before leaving, the leader approached Emma again. He slipped a folded bill into the tip jar. "For your college books," he said. Emma tried to protest, but he shook his head. "Kindness is meant to be passed on." She watched them leave, engines roaring to life outside. For the first time since the slap, she felt safe. Weeks passed, the story spread around town. Not as gossip, but as something people shared with pride. The Maple Street diner became busier. Tips grew. People checked in on Emma, asked how she was doing, treated her with a little more care. One afternoon, a familiar rumble filled the street again. The bikers returned this time. Emma smiled before they even sat down. She brought their coffee herself, steady and confident. "It's on the house today," she said. The leader smiled back. "Looks like you're doing good." "I am," Emma said. "Because you reminded everyone who we're supposed to be." He nodded. "Just don't forget it." Years later, Emma would tell this story to new hires when she became a manager. Not to scare them, but to remind them, she would say, "Most people are good. And sometimes, when you least expect it, kindness shows up in a leather jacket." The Maple Street diner never forgot that day. Neither did anyone who was there, because kindness doesn't always whisper. Sometimes it stands up, walks in, and says, "Enough." And when it does, it changes everything. So if you ever see someone hurting, remember this story. Remember that silence can hurt just as much as cruelty. And remember that even one act of kindness can turn fear into hope. Let's be the ones who walk in when it matters. Let's be the ones who choose kindness.